Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over. This is episode number 28, and we made it. So here we go. We're going to run our intro, but before that, I'm with Jeff Blanchard, our co-host, good friend, and co-geek in this little venture we have. And we got lots of toys for you today. One of them, I think, will break your bank.
Yes, I think it will do, but a good toy.
It's a good toy. Here's our intro. And we are back, and NAB is fun, and there were a lot of good little toys that came out of NAB, but we've moved on, and there's all sorts of new stuff coming out. We've got one that we'll show you in a little bit. It has to do with jets in hell, but not quite that way. I guess the price would probably put you in hell. It's probably expensive. Let's just get that one out of the way. Jeff, set this one up. How much did this thing cost? Do you know?
Well, I don't know, but I was just looking around, as you said, with NAB and keeping up to date with all that's happening on NAB, and I just came across some hobbyist model plane flyers.
Billionaire hobbyists.
Well, this must be. And this just freaked me out. I just came across this, and I thought, I think it might be easy just to maintain a proper jet. I thought this will cost probably as much as a little light plane to run, I think, as a model plane. I won't spoil. Have you got the clip? Have you got a clip, have you, Rick?
Here we go.
Okay.
And you could probably talk over it because they're not really saying too much. So
no, that's right. Well, just this is it's an A380, a model of the Singapore A380 jet.
Which is the Airbus A380, which is the largest jet in the world.
I think it's a woman until some person coming in. That puts it into perspective.
But it's something like 15 by 20 feet. So the wingspan is very large. It's almost by 20 by 20 meters. You need a large runway to do this on. I don't know if they're in a park or it's a little runway.
I think it's probably a properly made airfield for hobbyists or a proper airfield.
Yep.
But the great thing is if you do listen to the clip on that, they are jets. It's not like a little propeller plane or anything. It is a proper jet. It's got the same sound as
well, those are the miniature jets, and they're not cheap.
So I was just thinking, gee, that must cost a fortune to run.
Here's, I think, where he takes off. Look at him. There he goes.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, well, he's taken off now. How would he landed okay? Because that'd be a fortune to crash.
And he did it.
He did it perfectly, but even the wheels go up and they tip away. But
they have that the same kind of. Look at that. He's taking off right between people. Look at that.
It's just fantastic.
So watch him when he comes around now. I mean, he goes out pretty far.
Yeah.
And he's flying. And I bet you that thing is flying about 100 or 200 miles an hour, maybe. I don't know. It's going.
But the thing was, I looked at that and thought, gee, that's amazing. And I kept looking. And some other, they've got Harrier jump jets, some people.
Wow.
And they've got these, and some of, I was thinking to myself, where does a model become a proper plane? Because some of them was as big as the people. And they're wheeling them out and they're just...
oh, I know. This is probably the biggest one, though, right?
There was other bigger ones, but that was impressive. But just, like biplanes, but not without anybody on them, and just the lightweight. But I thought, where do model planes become just full size one?
And that thing looks like it's moving over 100 miles an hour, maybe even 2.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the train. When he does his turn, we're talking nice precision turning. And, it is controlled by some sort of keyboard he had on his chest.
Yeah. But something like this, I was thinking they must have to have special permission, because you wouldn't be something that size and with jets that could possibly go wrong and shoot straight up into the air, and it could go, thousands of meters.
At about 6-7 meters, or a little over 20-something feet, both ways. That's big. That's probably not that light either.
No.
Because they have engines in there for the hydraulics. This has full flaps. It's got ailerons. It's got landing gear that retracts. Those jets aren't that light on their own. The wingspan, this thing's amazing.
Seems to have stalled now, the video, so we better flick back, I think, yeah. So, but, I thought that was just incredible, because I saw when he was landing, it was not just like a normal little plane, it had all the normal flaps of a big plane when it came down. I thought, gee, it must be just as hard as a proper plane to fly. But
it's pretty amazing. I don't know if it has a camera on it so that you could see as you're going, because otherwise, how do you know where you are?
Well, I suppose a lot of these people are so skilled, they know what they're doing, they've had the skill, but I can't see somebody spending that much money or doing that would not have some sort of camera that was transmitting back, even if it was just so somebody could see it, but there's bound to have something on it.
Yeah, because the ability to fly a jet, helicopters are different. There's a lot of little helicopters that are easy to take off and fly, but this, you need a long runway.
Yeah, that's right.
That thing took off. That looked like, I don't know, it was probably going over 1,000 feet. It was a long runway.
Well, the reason I came across that, it was just to justify our hobby, and then I thought, well, I'm not spending that much money after all, because that would cost a fortune. And at least I can use mine day-to-day. That one you'd only be able to take off once a month when you got permission and you got flight.
No, but I think if you own that one, you probably don't work.
No, that's right.
You have way too much time and money on your hands. That's a first world hobbyist.
Yeah, I think that was in Switzerland from listening to what they were speaking.
Oh, okay.
I think it was
I thought it was German, but I couldn't hear it too well. Okay. Yeah, Swiss.
Yeah, but it's good. It's just great. Some of the toys that other people do have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Now, we talked last week about the Panasonic LX100. Now, that is this little camera right here. Mm-hmm. This is the Panasonic. You notice it's pretty small. There's a little lens cap. If I turn it on, it doesn't have a very big lens, but that's it. That's probably as far as it'll go. Let's see. Make it a little further. That's as far as it goes. So it's not very big. You can probably see it better against my shirt there. But this is a very clean camera. You can see the back here. You can look at me and really get scared now. It takes really good pictures. It just took one of us right there from the TV. It has a viewfinder, a small viewfinder, but it's a viewfinder. When you touch it, it turns off. See if you can see it here. It turns off the monitor. And about $800 camera. This little camera takes pictures as well or better than the Panasonic GH4, which is their flagship. And the amazing thing is, it doesn't have a microphone input. If it did, it'd almost probably replace a bigger camera. The picture quality is amazing on this. It's not to overuse the word amazing, but it does an incredibly good job. It's sharp. It is almost 100% manual. You don't have your P, your S, your A modes. There is an A, but it's really kind of a P. It has a lot of manual modes. You have manual focus or autofocus, which is very good on the Panasonics. But you also have 4K video on this. So this little camera does 4K video with 60 frames a second. Now, you can do slow motion with this thing. Pretty amazing. Now, if you compare that to this is a camera both you and I have. This is the Panasonic FZ1000. This one is a beautiful camera. I know you use it quite a bit. I've been using it more and more. It takes very good pictures. It also takes 4K video. It has microphone inputs. It doesn't have a headphone input. You just wonder, what are you doing with these stupid inputs? You'd think you'd have a headphone input, but no headphone input. So ideally, if you want to hear what's going on here, you need to put some sort of attachment and then go into the go into the mic input, but have a headphone on the bottom. So it's a little weird, but
Rick, with that, you've got the mic input. Your new Rode microphone. Does that have a headphone on the mic so you can listen to it through that or not?
Oh, good question.
I thought that might have a mic out, headphone out.
I don't remember because it might have a mic out. I think it does for no latency listening. It might because that would work on this camera pretty well. But it's just amazing. I just look at the size difference of these two, It's pretty
It is.
noticeable.
It's incredible, isn't it? And I was listening to somewhere that people were saying about the sound. Everybody's thinking how important sound is for
Yeah.
recording. But there's not many people out there with headphones on listening to the sound that they're getting anyway.
That's true.
So, which we should do, but as I said, I must admit I would feel a bit uncomfortable if I had my little camera like that, my earphones on or something, listening to it, the headphones.
And so anyway, that's if you're looking to have a good hobbyist or prosumer kind of camera, the LX100 is like a mini DSLR. It has all of the capabilities and features of a DSLR without the bulk. This is not a heavy camera at all. I mean, really, it's very light, maybe a pound, maybe 2. And it's actually quite solid. It's metal with plastic. It's very solid. So very impressed with that. You know, I went over and over about 1,000 times. Do I want that? Do I not want that? I want it. I don't. I want it. I don't. I finally got it because what the heck? I had to. Now I have the full line of little, the big Panasonic to the little one. So,
but it's quite amazing. You know, years back you would have when digital cameras came out, they used to have a so-so video quality and excellent photos.
That's right.
Now you get something like that, and it's doing an excellent photo quality, but also its main feature is its 4K video, whereas that used to be, we're just throwing in a bit of video so you can do that. But it's just excellent quality on that.
It's actually pretty amazing what they're putting in, and everybody's saying the same thing. Sony and Panasonic are leading. Nikon, Canon, and everyone else just seems to be struggling pretty far behind. It's rather interesting.
Now, for that one, just a question. Do you know on that one what the recording time is on the video? Is it the 30 minutes?
I believe it's 30 minutes. I believe it's 30.
Because I know over here in the US and over here and in Europe, anything that on that is classed as a video camera. I think anything that records over 30 minutes is classed as a video camera.
Yeah, I think this says like 29 minutes or something.
Those
are just stupid. Those are stupid EU laws that have no sense whatsoever. But
not that it bothers me really, because I'm not going to sit that on 4K for an hour.
I know.
On there, I'll have my other as a B-roll camera, just this Canon that can go for 5 hours. I would do that, but it's just I don't like somebody having the capability of doing an hour and me only being able to do 29 minutes.
Well, in the U.S., we don't have that issue, and more often than not, the cameras don't have the issue either. But it's a small camera. I think if you went over a certain amount, it would probably heat up. That's a lot of processing.
Also, in 4K, I think you've only got on a 64 gig card, you'd only have about an hour anyway.
Well, you can put a 128 on this thing.
Oh, can you?
I believe so. And as far as I know, there's no limit. A lot of people don't like the 128s because they're big and they're afraid they're going to break. And for all the people out there who do shoot with SD cards, they are sensitive. They don't always work. I actually did one shoot, and unfortunately, it was only a training class. But still, if that had been a real shoot, we would have been out to shoot. We lost the whole shoot when we took it out of the SD card was damaged. It happens.
That's a good feature with our other Panasonic cameras and the Canon. They've got the 2 memory slots, and you can record on both of the slots.
Right. But even on the GH4, they only had 1 slot, which I thought was sort of poor. But like they tell you, you can record to an external Atomos device, and as a result, you still have a lot of capability. But that means you have to spend $700 minimum on an Atomos.
Well,
so it all adds up.
And it's also, as well, you bought the camera because the form factor, you don't want to have anything connected to it.
Right.
You want that small camera, and you want the quality as it is.
I want to order that Alzo rig, the ALZO. Alzo.
Oh, yes,
for $150, you get a rig that's nice. It'll fit any of our Panasonics, and it gives you multiple hot shoes, and it just gives you the ability to attach a lot of equipment to one little shoe with 2 handles that you can easily turn and shoot with, and it's tripod mountable. I loved it. I thought it was great. And Alzo's funny. They're not an expensive vendor, but they make really innovative products. So they're a good one to listen to and to buy from.
So was that about $150 or something?
I believe it was $150 for the whole kit. It's $89 or $90 if you only get the partial kit without all the extra components, but they have extra things on it. And that's ALZO. It's an Alzo camera grip or camera rig, video camera or DSLR rig.
That's the funny thing I saw during the week was on the internet was a whole heap of photos of somebody decided to take some photos of people riding bikes, but take the bikes out of the shot.
Oh, how funny.
and it just looks so fun. I was just thinking that would be good. Take some pictures of all these people doing cameras and take the camera out of the shot.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But it was quite funny, and I thought, well, quite a skillful thing, the way they got rid of the bikes, but just some of the silly poses, people were just floating in the air.
Yeah.
Very well. But I thought that would be good with do that with cameras, because you pull some awkward faces when you're taking photos sometimes, don't you? So.
I know, like, mouth open, eyes open. Yeah, it's just funny, especially when you're looking through little teeny weeny viewfinders.
That's right. So
now, there is another thing in the world of smartphones, and there is a new smartphone that's coming out maybe as soon as next week, and that is the LG G4. What an amazingly beautiful phone. I went to Best Buy the other night, and they had the LG G3. Well, I was just looking at the table, and all of a sudden I went, what's that one? That one looked nice. Lights, pretty, beautiful. So I went up to it, picked it up, and I went, oh, this is gorgeous. It has a much nicer screen than the Note or the Apple. It's got a QHD screen. It's like, wow, this is just gorgeous. The blacks were very black. The colors were so rich. And I saw it was the LG G3. And I went, man, I would almost get that as was. But the G4 is coming out, I think, on the 28th or 29th. And what a lovely phone. It's expandable. You can remove the batteries. It's got a 20-megapixel camera with a 1.8 aperture on a little phone. Absolutely beautiful. So I think that's going to be my next phone. I think I'm going to go LG. And then LG smartwatches. The LG smartwatch is coming out imminently, and that is the Urbane, the LG Watch Urbane. Beautiful. It looks like a real watch. The screen quality, they have almost a 3D look where the second hand and where the time hands are. It just looks very, very nice. That's about a $500 watch. That uses WebOS, which allows you to be free of any Android Wear or iOS Wear. It works with iOS and with Android Wear. So that's a very nice looking phone. And aside from that one, we've got Samsung, which is coming out with a brand new round gear phone, which actually now looks nice, not stupid and goofy with a really crappy band. It actually looks classy. So they're all starting to come out with round watches that look very real. And I've been reading about people's experiences with the iWatch, and it's just rather sad. First of all, the thing takes over 70 seconds to boot up. So do you really want to wait that long to know what time it is?
Well, I suppose that's probably from cold, and once it's booted up, it would stay there.
It would probably stay there. It only has about 8 hours of battery life.
But it would still take a lot for me to get from a watch that takes me 2 seconds to put on and look at.
Yes.
But I'm still waiting to be convinced. But I think I'll go for one of these other watches just to see. The only thing I can see the advantage for me is as long as I can tell time.
I'm very happy with this one.
And it will alert me when I've got a phone. Like at work, you have the phone switched down because you don't want it buzzing. And quite often, until you get to the chance to look at your phone, you think, "Oh, damn, I missed a call 2 hours ago."
Right.
At least the watch would say you'd feel it a slight.
It'll vibrate. It'll vibrate on your wrist and stuff if you turn it on. But you have all the different faces. It's just really nice. What I don't like about the Moto right now is it's a beautiful watch. It's just the screen resolution could be better. It's a low. I think it's 370 by 2 something. It's a little low on the pixel density. So if the new version will probably be much higher, and the new version will actually be much more accessible. Because when you look at the cards in daylight, they're really hard to read. But the new one will allow you to keep everything in dark mode, so the text will be bright and the background will be dark. For me, I like that. But it's nice. And so we've got the Watch Urbane from LG, and we've got the new Samsung, which we don't know when that's coming out, but they think it'll be sometime in May. Round watches, very similar. The Samsung actually looks a lot like the Moto, very, very similar. But the Urbane looks like a classy, more of a Wenger type Swiss watch. It just looks very, very nice.
Rick, any of these ones, is there an advantage to have, like you was talking about the LG one, is there an advantage to pair it with the LG phone, or is it just independent, totally independent?
It'll work on any kind of smartphone. The LG Urbane, they have an R watch, which is I've got the R, it only works on Android gear, but the Urbane works on any kind of, works iOS or Android.
Oh.
So, but I don't mind Android Wear. It's okay. It works pretty well. There is a new version of Android Wear coming out in less than 2 weeks. And so we'll be seeing that soon. They've made a lot of changes. For example, if you are in a Wi-Fi area and your phone is not next to you, it doesn't matter. It'll work off of Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So you don't have to be tethered close to your phone at all times. So that's nice, because I think these things, after about 20, 25 feet, they start going, I need my phone. Now, they still work. You just don't get your notifications.
No. It'd be interesting to see how the watch market goes from the traditional watchmakers. I wonder what they'll come out to, because they must be thinking and developing something to compete so they don't lose all their market share. So
now, from what I heard, let's see, we've got, I believe, Rolex and Tag Heuer. Those are some of them that are coming out with digital watches or smartwatches that are also very classy, probably not cheap at all.
But even hopefully something like, the Tissot, which are not cheap, but they're sort of under the $1,000 mark.
Sure.
They're not the 15,000, but they're a good quality watch, but not the cheap end. So it'd be good to see what they come up with. So I've always been a fan of a lot of the Tissots and the Swiss brand watches.
Yeah, and let's see, what else do we have today? Well, you had some a thing on Sennheiser. Let me bring this Sennheiser up.
Yeah, well, as you were saying in the intro, NAB is over and gone with, but I'm still trying to catch up. I've been listening to, I think Larry Jordan had about, what was about nearly 100 hours, not 100, about 10, 12 hours of recorded interviews and that on there, so I'm still getting through them. I've got through about 8 hours worth, going to and from work. And one of the things I had a look at, which trying to catch up on NAB, was Sennheiser was showing a new lavalier microphone with quite a small transmitter on it. So it's called the AVX, I think it is, yeah. And you've got it up on the screen now, I believe. Yeah, there it is. And it's what I like about it is, the big thing I've always hated with the lavaliers and the transmitters is not the transmitter you wear on your belt or behind it with the lavalier. That's easy to hide. It's a whopping great big receiver unit that you've got on the camera that gets in the way or falls off and then takes the place of anything else on the unit. But what I like with this one, it's got really the size of it is just like a thumb drive.
Right.
With the sides with an XLR connection, so you can connect out from there into your XLR connection.
Interesting. So it goes right into the connection.
Yeah, but also as well, the great thing with that, the biggest thing you have, I don't know if you have it, but whenever you use these lavalier mics with the microphones, you have a shoot, you finish with it, you switch the things off, and that next time you go there, the battery's always dead.
Right,
and you always need. But what this one does, it runs off batteries if you want to, for when you're working off just the 3.5mm jack, say on your LXL Z1000. But what it does do, it works off the phantom power normally. So if you do through an XLR, you'll never run out of battery. So the unit switches on and off depending on your camera's phantom power. So if you're using that on our Canons and our Panasonics, all you have to worry about is the battery in the transmitter.
That's nice.
And I just thought this was just such, and it's not a cheap unit, but it's under, as I said, about $1,000. But that's not too bad if you. But one of the things that we're touting on that it goes into the 1.9 gigahertz, is it, frequency range, which is a range that very few people are using for the lavalier for the microphones.
Okay.
So but as more come out, there'll probably be more traffic there. But it's got one of those features on there that if he's getting interference, it will automatically change the frequency to the best response it can get for the sound. And also as well, it has the auto leveling, so no matter what it will always give you a great sound out of it. A lot of the time you adjust your sensitivity, like we do. Yes, it's all right, but then when you get back, you say, that didn't turn out too good.
Yep.
And it does that, so it will boost up the sound when it needs to be. Oh, that's a bit low. It will boost it up or cut it down if it gets overpowered. So I was quite impressed with that. I thought that might be something. I know it might be a bit expensive, but it sounds like it would be one of the few ones you'd need to have. And Sennheisers, I know you've got a few Sennheisers, and I'm really impressed with the quality of them. And they were really old ones as well, weren't they?
Well, we had the old ones, but we did get those new ones that were the
new ones as
Evolution
well,
series, I think, and they cost. They're not cheap. They were $1,500 for two of them.
Yeah. So well, that makes sense, because as I said, that's not with two set, but you can get much cheaper. But
right.
Hey, the quality's not going to be.
Yeah,
there.
you can buy them as cheap as about $200. The problem is frequencies, getting right frequencies, and a lot of times if you're indoors or inside certain buildings, you don't get good transmission out of them because they just don't have the cheaper ones only have usually one or two frequencies. The more expensive ones have between 30 and 60 or more.
I've got a cheap pair, and if you use it, if I'm sat here like this, it'll work okay.
Yes.
But if I move to the side,
right.
What you have to do is move. It's like a mobile phone in a very, very bad area. That if you think, better not move my head, or else I might not get a signal, and it's very off-putting when you.
Yeah, they're very sensitive.
Well, the reason why you've got a cordless microphone is so you can move.
Yep.
So you might as well be connected up with a cord to the microphone if it's that bad. So
now
it might be one I might invest in.
Yeah, now another thing we had this week, you mentioned that there's a lot of new improvements with the Adobe Creative Cloud, especially in the areas of After Effects and Premiere Pro.
Yeah, that's definitely. It's what's coming in there. I don't know if you've seen any of Jason Levine's stuff on there, but he did quite a good presentation for NAB, and it was just the update to the UI that's coming. And one of the great things I do like, I don't know if you've ever used SpeedGrade.
I've played with it.
And that's exactly what I've done. You go in there and it's like looking at After Effects for the first time. You think, my God, which style? And you end up with something green and blue because you've tweaked the wrong. It does a fantastic job, but like they say, you need to know what you're doing. It's an excellent quality, but what they've done in the next one is they've put in the Lumentary color panel within Premiere Pro. So what you'll be able to do is a lot of the things that SpeedGrade does, but at the standard level. Have you used Lightroom where you've got the normal exposure control?
I played a little bit with it, with the exposure stuff.
Well, that's what now we'll have that in the panel for Premiere Pro. So just you can put an adjustment level over the thing and just adjust everything and put vignettes on things without having to go to.
That's what I've always found amazing, and I do use Premiere Pro. I know you do too. But for many years, I was a Sony Vegas Pro guy. I used Sony Vegas a lot, and they've had all of this stuff for over a decade. And now it's only getting to Adobe, and you just go, wow. Because in the old days, Final Cut Pro didn't have half of what Sony did, neither did Premiere. Premiere is still, Sony Vegas is still a faster video editor in my book. You can cut, slice, and do whatever you need so much quicker. Transitions, everything's a lot quicker in Sony, but Sony hasn't kept their interface up. It looks pretty old. There are things they need to do. I don't know if they'll do them. I haven't seen big changes in there. I think Sony 13 is their latest version. It's a very capable video tool. And the one thing interesting about Sony, not only does Vegas actually do very good editing, it can generate Final Cut Pro, Avid, and Premiere timelines for you. So you could actually do it in one and then send it off to the other tool if you want it for whatever reason you want to use that one.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Brilliant.
One of the other features we had that really was fantastic was what they call the morph cut. Have you ever done something where you've been filming, say, a 3-minute segment of somebody talking like me, and then I go, and then you want to get rid of all the ums. So what that does, and you have all the jump cuts, so you'll quickly jump and you'll see me twitch because I've done that. What they've done now, though, you can put this morph cut over that. And what it does, it's a bit like the content aware it does in Photoshop. It there's, well, if this was there, I'll make that up and do it. Does the same thing with that. So it will go back into your video, get something of my face where I'm not moving and put it there so you can't see the cut anymore.
Well, also does other things. Like, for example, when you bring up the morph cut, it'll go something like, and that's the way it was. I'm back. So it does all sorts of fun stuff like that.
But what I've just heard from the things of the NAB, the Adobe is still having discussion because it does it so well. People are afraid that people won't be able to tell that it was a cut, that they said that all in one word, in one sentence, rather than they didn't hesitate.
Right.
They said, well, for news gathering, they said it won't be true then if they did and ah.
So this is the politician plugin.
That's right. Yes, so this would be ideal for anything that
I heard what they're planning on doing is actually a politician plugin, so that every time somebody says something, it automatically turns it into a lie, just in case they accidentally told the truth.
And also, what they've got in there is what's the time tuner in the media encoder, and what that does is if you've got a 3 minute and 5 second clip. And you said, well, it's got to go for 3 minutes. You just tell that when you do it, the media encoder. Media encoder will get rid of that 3 seconds for you.
Interesting. Okay.
In a nothing thing. So it works up to 10% of your video clip. And so I thought, gee, that's really good, because sometimes you say it's got to be 3 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yep.
And you have to go back and I'll just clip that a little bit, cut that, but it does that for you. And I thought they're the sort of things that will save you a lot of time on that. But it's just, there's so many different things coming out on that, but I'm quite looking forward to that. But one of the great things was on it going into, I think it was After Effects, was the Adobe Character Animator.
Yes.
So you get your shot of, you get your picture with your laser, just all your picture in there, switch your animator on, and it puts you into the picture. And off the camera, if you move your head, and he did quite a convincing demonstration. But they said once this is released, you're going to see thousands of YouTubes with cartoons going hello, because you can do it. But it said it's quite amazing technology out there. But as you said, some things we think, like I think, were quite amazing, but they've been out there for years. But because it was a lesser used product, that didn't make the mainstream, or people didn't develop it as far as it could.
Right.
Like you said, imagine if Vegas had the sort of the market as Adobe and Final Cut, they would have gone even further, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I mean, they're used heavily by a lot of people, but it is amazing how they've had all these features for way over a decade. I was doing some of this stuff in 2002 and 3 pretty much, and still nobody has it. I mean, they've only now started coming up to that. You just kind of shake your head and go, okay. But when the big companies do it, look how interesting what we're doing. We're doing stuff nobody ever thought of, except us.
But I was quite interested to listen to a lot of the people who did video effects and all that, and a lot of them are still producing one for Vegas.
Yes.
So for them to do that, you think, and that's more so for the higher end people, not just for the hobbyists.
Right.
So there must be a lot of people still using Vegas.
Oh yeah, Vegas is still pretty popular, and I tell you, it's still a very good video editor. Not bad at all. I need to upgrade to it. I think I'm on 12 or 11 somewhere. I haven't used it much recently, and Final Cut's got some new features. I think you were mentioning that. We talked about those last week. So there's a lot of good stuff happening in the industry, and at least Adobe and Final Cut are fighting it out. So that's good, because that creates more value for every one of us.
And I find quite often, there's somebody says, "Oh, Final Cut is rubbish. It does this and it has this."
Yeah.
Then next week, say, "Oh, Premiere's fantastic. Now they've got this feature." So, well, that's what Final Cut had last week. but as I said, it's still amazing how people say, "Oh, no, you have to." But to me, I think if you're doing any sort of video editing on a professional level, you really would have to have both. You really have to, and not just have one. You need to be on the top of a few of them, I would think. So, if I was a professional editor, I'd definitely be having Final Cut and Premiere Pro as the main ones, but I would definitely have Avid as well, just to get into the
And then you have tools like Corel's Video Studio Pro X, I think it's X8. They're amazing tools. They're really quite good for $99 or $89. They offer a lot of functionality, including 4K editing.
And also, this, I just don't know if it wasn't anything to do with NAB, but Adobe had the new Lightroom CC, so it's not version 6, it's Lightroom CC. But unlike all their other products that they have in the cloud, there's no notification. I didn't get a notification update.
Right.
It's just down the bottom said, new Lightroom CC. So that's there. I just downloaded, just updated that yesterday. So so that's out and about. So a lot of things happening with all the products out that we're all interested in as well. So
Yep, that's true. Well, Jeff, we are out of time today. We're actually running early for a change, so this is it's actually good.
Early, we've only been going 45 minutes.
I know. Today we only went about 45. It's about 44 right now. We're doing well.
That's right.
For people who don't know, when Jeff and I talk on Skype, when we're off hours sometimes, these are 2-3 hour conversations. So we keep it, it's really hard to keep it down because there's always something we're talking about. So it's sort of funny. But there's a lot of good stuff happening out in Techland, and we will be bringing you more tech tips coming up. And also we have a couple of new shows starting. In May, we will have one called Life Edge, which is how training, leadership, and other skills, passion, can give you that edge to make your life better. And that's going to be with Dr. Susan Nash. And we have a new Lectora show. For anybody who does e-learning development, Lectora is one of the top tools in the industry. And we're going to be doing a show called Lectora Live, your inside track into Lectora. So that's going to be coming out soon. We've got there's a lot of interviews and podcasts and all sorts of stuff happening with that one. So there'll be tips, tricks, tutorials, and interviews for that Lectora Live show. So stay tuned for that one. And we also have a health show coming up. We haven't really defined when, but that's in the works. And with Kirsten Rourke, we're going to be having a show called, this is eMedia Chat went away. So this new show is going to be called Media Learning Connection. A lot more tips, tutorials, and tricks on how to use Adobe CC products and other things having to do with media. So that should also be a fun show. Kirsten's excited about it, and that's going to probably start beginning of June.
Well, they're great, those sort of shows, because I don't know about you, I can sit down, learn a product and do hours and hours and hours of tutorials, but I seem to pick up more from those tips and hints and tips and tricks from these sort of shows, because they pick out all the things that people want to use. You don't need to know most of the things. This is just what people use all the time. So get so much help out of them.
Well, for all you guys in the chat room, if anybody's out there, we're not doing too much publicizing of this live, but next week we will be doing it on YouTube, and it'll be a YouTube live event, so we're going to be putting that out there probably by Wednesday to get you guys ready, maybe even earlier. So stay tuned. We will be inviting you to that live event, and that means we have to be on time. Wow, and we only have a certain time to stream, so we have to be disciplined. So this will be tough.
Hello, this is Tech Time Over. Now here we go. Goodbye, bye for now. We said it for 30 seconds instead of 30 minutes.
Yes, wasn't that good? Yes.
What's that presentation style? Pedagogy or something? We have 50. Is it? What is that? We have certain amount of time and we have 50 speakers or something, but they all have 5 minutes or something.
And
like
they have
that.
to go. Just keep going. Yeah, I forgot what they call that.
Yes. So when you get all your shows up and running, we'll have to have a version of that. So,
just as quick as you can. Get that message out.
Yep. And then we do that. That'd be fun.
So anyway, and if you are watching the recordings on Vimeo and YouTube, please subscribe. Subscribe to both of them, but just subscribe. And we're probably going to be doing more and more on YouTube in the near future. We're getting our channel fixed up and cleaned up. We did some cleanup this week. And if you want to go see that, it is youtube.com/RELATECASTS, all one word. And we'll have some links to it next week and in the show notes. But that is getting cleaned up. We have a playlist called Tech Down Over, so you can see all the latest shows right there. So, Jeff, you have a great weekend. Looks like we're going to have a cloudy weekend over here, but Monday we get about 80-degree heat again. So,
Well, it's rainy, a bit rainy here, but it is going into winter here, so
Yep.
that's to be expected.
Yeah, I wish we had some more rain. We had about 2 drops yesterday. It was rather interesting. It looked like it was going to rain really hard, and about 3 drops came down, and that was the end of it.
I bet that fell on the rich area.
Probably. Probably. Well, we have a drought that only seems to affect non-politicians, so go figure.
That's right.
Anyway, well, have a good one, everyone. Jeff, as always, we'll see you next week on Tech Down Over. Take care.
Bye for now.